presentation.
Thank you, Žarko. It is really a pleasure for me to be here among you today, and I hope that we will establish some new initiatives later on in the coffee break, and I think it will be interesting what I have to say in the next 10 to 15 minutes. I'll start with Zagreb, with Croatia. Most of you have been in Zagreb at least once, some, just like Sally said, for the 4th times. But I don't know if anybody of you has been to the eastern part of Croatia, to small towns maybe called Gunja. Have you ever heard about Gunja? Yes, you have. So colleagues from Croatia have some knowledge. So I'll take you to Gunja. This happened 4 months ago. Several thousand of people were evacuated. 200 families are still not in their homes and probably will never be. And this is one of the biggest tragedies we had in the last 20 years in Croatia up to now. Maybe you're interested why I'm showing the pictures from Gunja. There is a reason. This is their primary school, 1 week after the flood. And it looks not so good, right? I believe everybody agrees. I wouldn't like this to happen in any of your countries. Maybe colleagues from Serbia have some similar experience because of everything that was happening also there in last several months. And this is what happened not so long ago. Yeah, it was on the 15th of September. This is the renovated school, primary school in Gunja. You have here the classroom of the future. That is the term that our Ministry of Science, Education and Sport is using to promote new classroom, future classroom, e-skills classroom. You can call it however you want. Now, there are some details on this picture. I believe that those who have some skills for this can make a detailed analysis. But I believe that each one of you can see that there are not so many pupils in the classroom. Most of them are officials. You can see actually 3 pupils sitting and listening to something. Listening to something. This is very important. This is what I want to emphasize. This is one of the 8 classrooms of the future existing right now in Croatia. This is what our ministry and some other institutions are proclaiming to be a standard. But my point here is that you can bring IT, ICT, without knowledge, there's no use of it. Because the teachers don't know how to use it right now. These are experts coming from the Zagreb or some other regions, and the show lasts for half an hour, then they leave. And I can bet that if we go right now to Gunja, we would see that this equipment is not used as it should be. So there is one huge gap between the publicity that has been made out of it and the real atmosphere that is happening in the classroom. The same thing happened 1 week ago in Zagreb. This is the last future classroom, and it is a project that is good to have, but let me remind you that we have only 8 of these in Croatia. So if you come from abroad and you ran into this publicity, you could have wrong impression. Something totally different is happening in our classrooms, regular one. And I will show it on the example of one 13-year-old pupil called Marko for this presentation. So on the left side, I will show you his consumption right now. 97% of this group, target group 10 to 14, are spending 60 to 240 minutes on internet per day. We can discuss, is it too much or too little? I don't think we have time right now. 50% of his colleagues are spending some time on social networks even during the classroom, not for media and learning, but for pleasure and leisure and fun. And this is also not good from my perspective. Later on you will see why. In the same time, 48% of this target group trusts internet. So this is their consumption in a way. There are many more detailed data, but we don't have enough time today. His opportunities to learn are strange. Once a month, if you look at the curriculum, on mother language through media culture, it's usually based on film. And we have the biggest film expert in Croatia, in the region, member of the academy from the United States, Professor Mikic, that is a pioneer in this field, and actually many of these classes are done according to his materials. So, but is this enough? Once a month, 45 minutes. For media culture, film literacy, or any other literacy you can imagine. What about informatics? Because we saw the equipment, we saw the future classrooms. Informatics is extracurricular activity. It's not compulsory, as you heard yesterday from Predrag Pale's lecture. If we look at the experience of his teacher, and my wife is a teacher, so I'm biased a little bit, there is no adequate teacher training material on media information literacy in Croatia right now. There is nothing you can lean on, even if you have goodwill and passion to do it. It's primarily focused on media culture and film literacy. You can have your major without listening to any course or subject on media information literacy at our universities. There are programs where you can really find this. There is a low institutional support and insufficient long life learning programs. Low media information literacy capacities in general. And that's why I am happy that I was one of the 14 authors of the Paris Declaration on Media Information Literacy in Digital Era. We were planning to have Skype conversation with Alton Grislow. He was the coordinator of this, and there are many other people that gave really their best in this, primarily Divina from Aix, from Sorbonne, maybe you heard about her. So this is one quote from this new Declaration on Media Information Literacy. You can find it at UNESCO site. So all citizens need to critical meal competencies, to demand transparency, and to analyze information about what freedoms they gain or lose, what opportunities they face, and what risks they take by interacting with computer programming languages that are normally invisible. There is just one quote. The declaration has 4 to 5 pages, so I really advise you to go through it. That's why I would like us all to embrace the media information literacy as a new platform for human rights, for citizenship, for diversity, for everything that we can imagine. There are many research that has been done that show that there is a strong connection between citizenship and media information literacy. We have also promising capacity. The last 2 big projects that were done, one was called Emedus and the other one Honor Translate. And according to the data they got, there are 25 entities registered. There is a huge bibliography on media information literacy, and there are more than 500 experts just in this region throughout Europe, in EU 27, now EU 28. So this is very promising capacity, although I have a question mark here. Did we use it like we should? But there are also many side effects. This is a hate group formed on Facebook by an unknown person in Croatia. He took 100 lady profiles on purpose and put them all together in a hate group called Vinkovačke Whores. Vinkovačke means one city, Vinkovci, called Vinkovci, very nearby Gunja. What could we do? These are the side effects. Did they learn to code? The administrator of this group has learned to code, but how? I mean, that's why my point is that coding itself is not enough. And from what we see here in Croatia, we cannot say that, okay, we'll do the best we can in coding, but without decoding, there's no use of it. There's no point. That is my experience, not from the academical base. You'll see what I have done on the field with my colleagues very soon. There are also some same pictures coming from abroad. And I always think when I see these kind of examples, when you see cyberbullying and all other taking pictures of it, nobody is helping. We have the same situation 2 days ago in the very center of Zagreb. This has become something very interesting, popular in a way. What about government? And I put governments so that you cannot say that I'm putting HDZ government or SDP, left wing or right wing, it doesn't matter. Because when you put it all onto one slide, there are some reason to be desperate. These are the documents where I was looking for media literacy as a subject, as a word. You can see how many times I managed to find it. Now, these are the fundamentals. If you don't have media information literacy, ICT literacy listed here, you can't expect that anything would help on the local level, because everybody is looking to these documents. What about the public? This is my favorite line, because usually when we talk to the stakeholders, they say, okay, do you have any kind of research? This is your impression. You're coming from academia. You like to push all these things to get the money. So we managed to have the first public opinion research in Croatia with the following question. Do you think that the media education has to be included in our educational system in order to learn media literacy and reflect upon media content? And this is the answer. So we can say that the majority of the Croatian public wants to learn. And this is the research I use whenever I go to government or any other officials, and this is what they can't fight. Even the Brussels can't fight it, or any other institution, because it's transparent. And that's what we are doing. That is the main principle of our work. There is a long road from coding to media literacy. This is a screenshot of our television studio from Faculty of Political Science. So our colleagues that are filming right now, they learned their job just here. This is the first medium we have. They used also some coding techniques, but the main principle of their work is primarily decoding. There is a radio student also on our faculty. So this is how we prepare all our students for the market. Now we know that we have problems with the market as well. Maybe our colleague Lunela will later on say something about this from the public television perspective. We have also Studosfera. This is the blog network where we have many bloggers from our faculty. And we also have the newspapers called Global. They are printed, but we are producing the content by using many ICT programs, just like Story Editor, Newsroom Program, or any other. But is it enough? Now I'm teaching for the last 12 years on the Faculty of Political Science and Journalism. I have 6 different courses, and I was working with 3,000 students up to now. And I saw that it's not enough. Something is missing. So that's why I have chosen to take the best one of them and to form one NGO together with my colleagues. And we have become the army of volunteers. Don't get me wrong. You know. We established a news site called djecamedia.org. This is a regular portal where you can find many, many activities and information, and it's primarily used by the teachers and parents, and it's intended for them to find different in-depth information on media literacy. Our mission is to educate and inform. We had 270 workshops for more than 3,500 children, parents, and teachers. We produced 38 radio programs. We published 250 news articles. We had more than 100,000 visitors on our website. And you can find us also on Facebook and Twitter. We are active even right now when I'm giving speech in front of you here. There are also some other good examples in Croatia. This is one of the last ones called 5 for Net, 5 za Net. It's run by our colleague Lidija Kralj, and she is about to introduce the first digital curricula for the safer internet in Croatia, and it is very, very good resource base for our students and parents and teachers in Croatia. And I didn't want to mention Telecentre because Žarko is the organizer, but you could also see many activities and projects done by them. These are listed here, and these are practically the stakeholders that are trying to fight for media literacy right now in Croatia through many, many programs. There are also some threats for media literacy in Croatia. The first thing is there is no media literacy policy at all. Why did we ignore Audiovisual Media Service Directive? We did. Poor media information literacy manuals, no legal definition of media education, no coordination between ministries, no official interministerial body or committee, no law that designates a clear authority to oversee media education, no responsibility of public institutions in relation to media information literacy program, lifelong learning programs in media literacy, there are just few. One of them is done by Telecentre. So that's why I think we need a new approach, something totally different. We had some things mentioned also in the new declaration. You can find it later on. But the fundamental is that we cannot promote and implement MIL without ICT anymore. We need a stronger cooperation with ICT in general. It's also not wise to promote just one supplier. That was happening in Croatia in the last 2 to 3 years. When you look at the ICT companies, there are only 2 or 3, the biggest ones, that got the jobs, most of the jobs. I don't think this is wise. We should promote also some other companies to enter in these projects. NGOs are, from my perspective, still the best promoters of media information literacy in Croatia because of the weak capacity of other institutions I just showed. We also need media literacy, media information literacy for our politicians. I mentioned it one time in Brussels on one expert meeting that we should have many workshops on media information literacy in the European Parliament. Because I think that if we test them, we would have very weak results. And that's why political parties have low MIL capacity and awareness. We need a grand coalition for media information literacy. We need MIL as a part of acquis communautaire. We don't have it right now. Computer science or informatics as an optional subject is not anymore an option. It should become compulsory as soon as possible. And let me go to the very end with the statement. Also, 1 week ago, it was said by our Minister of Science, Education and Sport. And I'm not intending to read it because you can read it. But you can see that how can we discuss about informatics if we don't have preconditions for it in the ministry? And we know that they, coming from the bureaucracy, are always emphasizing budget, budget, budget. That's why they don't like us, because we are not the budget guys or ladies, boys and girls. Our workshop, our approach in next year is the following: 70 workshops. We will go in 21 primary and secondary schools throughout Croatia. We will educate 3,500 participants. It will be altogether 7,000. In 5 years' time, each pupil in Zagreb County will hear about Djeca Media and will participate in at least one workshop. And you know what's the best thing about it? It doesn't cost a thing. And this is our sustainability. Because we want to provide the knowledge for those who want to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Igor. Do you have a question? Yeah.
Thanks for a really great presentation, Igor. Just the last point, how sustainable is it with volunteers? You're young, you're enthusiastic, you've got a great bunch of volunteers around you. In 5 years' time, will they be still doing it for free?
It's the question that was raised 3 years ago when we started with this program. What will happen in 1 year's time? And I said that we will become even bigger. That's what's happening. Because I believe in 1 year's time we will have 100 volunteers. I mean, it's totally different from what you're used to hear about volunteering. But I think that it's the only sustainability in our society in general. Because when you look at the program funding, project funding, it ends at some point. And you mentioned sustainability. I was participating in 5 different European projects, and we had always the same time with sustainability. I mean, this is really something idealistic. But as long as we have a good team, and I believe we will have even better team, it will spread like something very, very good throughout the region. We will definitely need at some point 2 or 3 cornerstone projects that will help us just regarding administration. But that's the only precondition. Everything else can be done if you have individuals fighting for it. Now, that's why I said the army for media literacy in a good way. Yeah.
But don't you think that the integration in the formal curriculum is a way of sustainability?
I don't believe so, because if you even include it in the formal curricula, you won't be able to come to the parents. And that's what we are doing right now. We are giving lectures in kindergartens to the parents. We are organizing workshops throughout Croatia for adults as well. So I believe we will still have this kind of necessity for NGOs activities. The only problem is that we also need to establish some kind of new connection to bring new networks of NGOs. I believe that there are some trends in Europe when, okay, we have very good projects, but you can find many good NGOs that are looking like this, you know, and that's not our point. We try to look more broad.
As an NGO, was it a problem to enter schools?
No, no. We even didn't get the official recommendation from the ministry. Yeah, because inquiries come from the principals. They hear about us, and they want us to come. So the only thing they are paying are the travel costs and nothing else right now.
Okay.
Hi. I didn't introduce myself earlier. Manus Hanratty from Dublin, Ireland. I don't know why, but I seem to be the one who has to ask the hard questions. This is a deep conversation probably for all of you, and might be a bit controversial, but I hear an awful lot of people talking about the need for training and the need for this and that and for research and all that, and I don't disagree with 1 second of it. But I somehow feel that one of the things that's missed in all of these discussions is observing things that work in society versus things that don't work in terms of how information just gets passed around. And for example, and maybe people won't agree with this kind of comment, but the combination of something like Facebook and access to digital cameras through your smartphone has actually made millions and millions of people into mini sort of media experts. They don't even know it. I mean, my daughter she creates movies all the time. She edits them on her iPhone. She puts them up on YouTube and Facebook and God knows where. And she's very, very au fait with the whole thing. But if you asked her, she wouldn't know. She doesn't think she's an expert in anything. But it's just all been made very easy for her. And if you look at Facebook in general, I mean, there's 1 billion people use it. You never hear people talking about, oh, we've got to teach people how to use Facebook. They just figure it out because it's very intuitive and very easy. Is there not some approach like that we have to think about in terms of how we disseminate training and so on, as opposed to think we have to keep designing courses? Because one of my biggest fears is, and I even heard it yesterday, the day before, is the number of people, even in this room, that keep reinventing the wheel, keep designing another course, while their friends across the room have just done the very same course already. Do you not think we need to have a slightly different think about all this, so we're not just always talking about we need another course or another bit of research? Take some examples from Facebook and YouTube and these people that somehow just turn the lights on for young people and they just go at it like a magnet, you know? They don't need any persuasion whatsoever. So it's just a thought.
Yeah, it's a good thought. I mean, that is the quote from the declaration, risks and opportunities. I mean, we are using Facebook very, very often, regularly, on everyday basis. We are sending informations, we have people that follow us, and I believe with one quote you can change somebody's life, if this is the proper quote in the proper time. Yeah? That's why you need to be present. And that is the point of all our initiatives, to be present, so that teacher can lean on us, so that parents can lean on us, so that children can lean on us. We are cooperating with Ministry of Interior. with any other organization that we think could need some help, but in order to establish trust, that is the big thing that is missing right now, because we have all this technology, but we have a huge gap of trust in our societies. And I saw this everywhere I was traveling, throughout Europe, even in the States or in Africa. There is always the same problem of trust, because the technology didn't solve this. No Facebook can solve this problem, but we need people present to establish new bridges of trust. So I agree with you. That's why I entered the lower level from academia. I could stay here and I could say, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. I go to the field, I listen to the experience of the parents. I know what they want to hear and what are their biggest problems, concerns, and